Hello, my name is Willie Johnson. I am a campus minister in the city of St. Louis, and I am passionate about missions. I go on mission trips myself, and I send others on missions. And one of the things that I've noticed is that it's particularly hard for minorities to be able to go on missions and to raise the money for missions. And the reason I believe this is, it may actually surprise some people. Um, and I'll get to that reason here in a little bit, but like missions are vital to any community because it trains people how to share their faith. It trains them how to train others. It They are able to come back as leaders and really affect change in their communities. And so when a certain group or groups are not able to go on missions, are not able to get equipped and not able to be a part of the Great Commission as far as going and being sent, whether it's in their city or it's across the seas or to another city, then it is a really, really big problem that needs to be addressed. So my first mission trip really molded and shaped my life, and that's part of the reason I'm passionate about missions. Before then, I didn't share my faith, and I said I wasn't one of those types of Christians who share their faith, and I wasn't going to be knocking on doors. But I was challenged by my staff member, my campus minister, to go on a mission trip, and I went on a 10-day mission trip where I did learn how to share my faith, and I was equipped. And me and my girlfriend at the time, who was now my wife, we both came back from this mission trip and really took what we learned and put it into action right on our campus, and we grew a really wonderful campus community, and many people came to faith. We saw dozens of people come to faith, and it was almost like a mini revival. But it all started on this little 10-day mission trip where my eyes were open to how big and how grand God is. The biggest barrier to sending minorities on missions, in my opinion, it may surprise you, but I think it makes a lot of sense. And that barrier is monocultural ministries and churches. And the reason I say that is for Hispanic and African American people specifically who come from lower income families. The median for the average African American household is 36,000, and the median for Hispanic is about 45,000, while for a white family it'll be 55,000, and an Asian $77,000. And so you can see, like, if I go back to all black church, my ability to have resources to raise my support to go on mission trips, to have people who say, I want to send you on a mission trip and here's money to do so, significantly decreases if I go to a monocultural church with low-income people or low-income minorities. What this does when we create monocultural places on campus and we want people to go on missions, it really significantly affects Hispanic students and black students' ability to go on mission trips, because there's just not enough funds in those communities. And so the reason why I believe multicultural ministry is more effective in sending missionaries of minority backgrounds is because they're around the world. They're around people they're rubbing shoulders with people who are different than them, and so they're not expecting comfort when they go on missions. They're able to rub shoulders with people who have different resources. And so I could say to a student from inner city St. Louis, hey, have you made your calls all day long? But if he only knows people who are from a low-income background, him making calls won't get him the money he needs. Or I could say, hey, are you getting referrals? But if he's being referred to people who are, struggling, which is a reality for a lot of these inner city students, then he or she won't get the help they need financially. Oftentimes we think we're doing people a favor by creating these monocultural movements, but actually in the long term, we're handicapping their ability to go on missions. And missions is one of the very key factors to people deciding they want to go into full-time ministry. It becomes a cycle that is really, really difficult to get out of.
If what we saying is true, then it changes everything.
Hi, I'm Matthew. I'm a campus minister in St. Louis. Part of what makes a healthy ministry movement on a campus is an outward focus. If you have a group that's just focused inwardly on serving itself, it will die because it doesn't have a greater vision, and most importantly, it doesn't have the vision that Jesus gave for his church. Jesus gave the vision that people should love all people, and people should go and reach all people. Jerusalem, Judea, and Samaria, they should go reach the world. And that involves all cultures. And so I think multicultural ministry movements are vitally important because people come together. Everybody's a little bit uncomfortable, but people learn to give a little, and they learn to have a heart for other people. And then that helps them have a heart for reaching the world.
What I have seen over the past 5 years of me doing ministry is people from multicultural churches. It doesn't matter if they're necessarily low income. There are people in those churches who can refer them to people who have resources.
One of the things that I've realized is it's really helpful to have students from a variety of different backgrounds, ethnicities, and cultures, because we all have different predispositions, different paradigms, different ways we think about things. And so as a group of people from different backgrounds, together, when we put our heads together, we can reach people from different cultures much better than we would if we were just a homogeneous group of people.
One of the things that we've done in St. Louis to combat the problem of missions, especially in lower income communities, is we at first it started with us making it everybody's job. We have mandatory hours where we are crossing cultures, and from those hours, we had an intern who went on a mission trip, a black gentleman who went on a mission trip. And I had nothing to do with it. I didn't know him or anything like that, but he went to East Asia, and God cultivated a heart for him for missions, for the Great Commission. And then he now has joined our staff. But one of the things we've done, because it's everybody's job, is we raised 25% of his support already. Another thing we've done is we used to go to Panama City Beach, where it cost $300 for a week during spring break on a mission trip. But we switched that to New Orleans, and we only charge $100. And not only does that help low-income, majority culture students, but it helps our minority students. And so we went from one student that I can remember, one black student going to PCB the previous year, to 20 black students, if not more, going to New Orleans and engaging in mission. And that was just in 1 year's time, where we went from 1 to 20, just because we made it everybody's job. And we said, you know what, because these are all of our students, as a team, we have to make a way for all of our students to come. It's not just the black people's job on the team, or somebody who's working with the black students, but it's everybody's job. And so that's really made a difference. Also, we just spent a lot of time saying, you know what, we are going to connect people. We are going to put our money where our mouth is. We are going to give money as a team, connecting people with resources to raise their support, to be able to go to our winter conferences and hear more about missions. But it all happened as a team. But if it did not happen that way, then, and this was how it was for a few years, I would exhaust my resources and only be able to send like 5 students. Now we send, upwards of 20 students from minority backgrounds to our conferences, because we just have a lot more money, because they're all our students. So if you're watching this and you're like, man, this dude is really hating on, monocultural ministries and my cultural expression of ministry. It's not about that. You are free to express the way you love God in whatever way you want to. But number one, that doesn't have to happen in a vacuum. But at the same time, this is about injustice. And I really think it's a real injustice if we have systems in place that keep minority students from lower income backgrounds unable to engage in missions. If we continue to keep them in these lower income groups on campus, and we can say like it's for you because no one was coming to the other group and things like that, but the truth is, if they're not connecting with people of larger resources at all, then we significantly handicap them when it comes to engaging in missions. And one thing that every missionary knows is like that first mission trip was vital in them saying, yes, I want to become a missionary. And so whether you're a campus missionary or you're overseas, if we are not allowing our students of minority descent, especially from lower income backgrounds, to go on these mission trips, it's very unlikely we're going to get them to join full-time as missionaries, whether it's on the campus or whether it's overseas. And so in the long run, if people don't see someone who looks like them doing something, there's a glass ceiling there, and there's just this thing in your mind that's like, that's not for me, that's for majority culture or for this culture. But that's not true. That's not the message we want to send. We want to send a message that is biblical. And 1 Corinthians 12:26 says, if one suffers, we all suffer. If one is honored, we all rejoice. And right now that is not happening. It's just mainly Hispanic and black folks suffering when it comes to missions. We're not able to engage in them as much as we should be. And so this is what this is about. My prayer for you is that you really consider these things, the effects of keeping people in the monocultural community has on long-term missions, and has on the students engaged in these things who want to go on missions but are not connected to the resources to be able to do so.